Good evening. Welcome to Conversations with Classic Cuties. I'm your host, Ebony. Joining me are my co hosts, Tammy and Jade. Today's topic is episode 3, Life After Incarceration. We have guest speakers Rosalyn Allen and Marcus Cheffen joining us on the podcast. So, Rosalyn, getting started with you. Tell us briefly about your childhood growing up and things that led up to your incarceration.
Thank y'all for having me. I had a good childhood growing up. I was into sports in school. Um, got led into my teenage years. 19 and 20 got led into dancing.
Dancing meaning?
Exotic dancing.
Okay.
Some people stripper, but it is what it is. Did that for like 15 years. Had my beautiful daughter that's here today with me. She's one of my support system. Got into a lot of fights while I'm dancing in the clubs, and used to get drunk, wreck like several cars. Used to get high. What led me to my time in prison is, that saying, wrong place at the wrong time. That's exactly what happened with me. And I was acting out of my emotions. I was drunk. I was high.
Out your body.
When I say out my body,
Okay.
I was out my body.
Okay.
There was an incident that happened where someone really, really got hurt, like really, really bad. I was charged with attempted murder. The reason why I got the time that I got is because my background was nothing but violence, like gun charges, fighting, kicking in doors. Like when I say I was a bad girl, I was a real bad girl. And that what led me to the time that the judge gave me because of my background consists of violence. So he said, okay, I'm gonna show you. So like I say, my charge was attempted murder, but if I pleaded out to 10 years, he dropped it down to aggravated battery. When he said 10 years, I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't look that far. I'm like, what the? I almost passed out in court. I'm like, no, I can't do no 10 years. And I did have co-defenders, but I didn't say anything about what happened because my actions was my actions.
Right.
I'm not trying to get nobody else involved with my actions.
Mm-hmm.
So, I took it like a G, a champ, I did my time.
Right.
But, like I say, I couldn't see that for. So, I had a 10-year sentence, but I had to do 85% of my time.
Okay.
And they booked me into East Baton Rouge Parish Prison. And people who've been in there for so long, they was like, when you get your time not gonna move nowhere. You need to get to a facility where you can move around, you could take classes, you could do something. So I say, okay, I know how I'm gonna get to that, to those different facilities. I got to fighting. And when you fight in jail, when you constantly be a problem person, they ship you to the next facility.
Right.
They shipped me to Rayville. Rayville was taking too long. I say I had to get to St. Gabriel. I had to get to the penitentiary. I had already got my DLC time, so I had to get to the penitentiary so I can take classes. I can join some kind of group, where I can knock some of my time down.
Right.
So they shipped me to Rayville. Got to fighting in Rayville. They shipped me to Simsport. Got to fighting in Simsport.
Repetitious.
That was the last straw. They was like, look, we got to get rid of you.
Right.
So in 2013, they finally shipped me to St. Gabriel, where I got into the GED program. I got into working. I was working in the hair shop. They had hair shop down there.
Okay.
I just started taking
you
all
wouldn't think they would have that.
You wouldn't think that they would have it. I was just taking all type of classes. I was studying all type of religions, Islamic. I was just wanted to get out the dorm. I just wanted to be into something because when you just laying in a dorm in your bed, the time go by so slow. But when I started moving and getting into all the different programs that they had, school, it's like my time was going by fast.
So what was your motivation as when you saying your time is going by fast? What was it that kept you afloat, kept you focused?
Not to fight, because the warden always tell me, I see something special in you. He said, I know you a problem person because I'm looking at all your transfer that you got to get here. But my motivation was when he told me about a work release, when he told me about the work release program that they had there, he said, but you can't get into any fights. So I woke up I avoided like people spitting in my face, and I'm like, oh Lord Jesus, like what am I, like I'm a punk now?
Right.
But I kept thinking about work release, and you know my time is coming short. So I finally, I'm not gonna lie, I had one fight. This when the Caucasian lady had spit in my face and called me the N-word.
Okay.
So, you know, I had to, Lord Jesus help me, forgive me, you know, Lord know my heart, like forgive me for what I'm finna do.
Yeah. Right.
And but I had that fight, but I did 6 months on lockdown with that. But that didn't stop me from going to work release because I got so many certificates and awards.
You say 6 months like it's 6 minutes.
Right.
It's really, and when you're incarcerated, it just seems like 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Because it's not, I mean, I know people that have been solitary confinement for 30 years.
Yes.
Like, you know, 30 years, the only thing they know is a 6x9 cell.
Yes.
So I know what you mean. But some people may say, you talk about it like it's nothing. 6 months is good compared to people that got 3
got life. Yeah.
You know, it's different. I did 2 years at Camp J. Camp J is like a discipline thing.
Okay.
Where the worst of the worst. I didn't see it all. So I know what you is, so go ahead. I'm not going.
That's okay.
Yeah.
We get to you more. We coming. You gotta twist to your story too.
Yeah.
But you mentioned that your daughter's here.
Yes.
So my question, you said you had a kid, and how did this affect your relationship with your daughter, like through this process?
It hurted her because I wasn't there for her. But like I say, in jail, you have to have a support system. You have to have someone that's out there that's going to support you through everything, that's going to do the time with you.
Right.
Because when you're doing time, your loved one's doing time with you too.
Right.
Yeah.
And I tell people that all the time, like, you know, for as my brothers, one of my brothers, well, one of them just got out, but one of them is doing time, and I'm doing time with him. You know, I have to be his support system to keep him going. But it affected her bad. You know, she used to come up and see me with my auntie, used to bring her up and see me. You know, we used to have like the little children's day and stuff. But it used to affect her bad because I wasn't there for her.
Right.
Like she would see other parents with their kids doing the mother-daughter thing. So now it's catch-up time. It's make-up time. Like, so
yeah. And then, you know, it was to a point where I'm just like, maybe my baby's not going to graduate because I'm not there. But she graduate top honors of her classes, you know, high school graduate, you know, so.
So is that the only one you have?
I have a 4-year-old too. Don't judge me. A 25 and a 4-year-old.
Hey, listen. It is what it is.
4-year-old turning 14.
Yes. But like I say, like when people look at me and see me, if they don't know my story, if they don't know me from my past, they would never thought that I did 8.5 years. And I'm not afraid to tell people my past because my past made me to who the person I am today.
Right.
You know, I'm a supervisor at La Burge Casino, making $20-something an hour. I love my job, and you know, I'm just continues to grow.
Well, tell the birds again.
Yes.
You know, you gotta love
I love my job. I love my job.
Yes.
I love my job.
And
Awesome.
that was the next question I had. Like, how hard was it to land a job after being released from prison?
It wasn't hard because, like I say, with good behavior in St. Gabriel, minus that one fight that I had, you know, getting all my certificates and all that, It wasn't hard because when I went to work release, I started off at Quality Inn in Sulphur
Okay.
as a supervisor, a housekeeping supervisor. So I worked there for like 2 years, and after I got out, I went back to work there. And after looking online, see if I could get more money, that's when I went to LaBerge. And so when I went to LaBerge, I was a housekeeping inspector too. They moved me up to dispatch. So I worked there for like a year and a half. Now I'm at the position that I am now.
Okay.
You know, but I'm still trying to climb up on top.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get some more.
I know
I'm
that's
trying to
real.
more.
Don't
So-
stop.
That's what we want. We want others to know that it's not like the end of the world.
Right, right.
Definitely not.
It's
You
not a death
are
sentence.
released from prison.
Yeah.
And my next question to you, and we're gonna shift on over to Marcus, but what advice do you have for the youth and young adults regarding your situation? What advice do you have?
I
to
just
tell
can say never get, if you put your mind to something and you want to do this, never give up on it. Like keep trying. Like don't never, you know how people want to put you in a bad situation. Just follow your own mind. Don't, like I did, I followed somebody else's mind, and that what led me to my incarceration. Like you have to think for yourself.
Right.
You know, you can't think off nobody else's action. You can't just want to be a puppet behind somebody. You got to focus on you and only you. Because,
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, you the one going to have to stand tall.
Right.
Yep.
And it's so easy to get
In
into
trouble.
something.
And it's
Right.
hard
And
to
it's
get
so
out.
hard to get
It's
out.
hard to get out.
You know?
Right.
Okay, so we're moving on over to Mr. Marcus here. Coming into contact with Marcus was pretty interesting because we passed each other in passing for different school events or whatever have you, but not knowing, because you should never judge a person, you know, like don't judge a book by its cover. But getting the information was Rosalyn reaching out to me about this topic and me getting information from my honey who told me about Mr. Marcus here, and we want to get into your story. So tell us a bit about Marcus and like the same, joining us about this childhood.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for having me here.
You're welcome.
My childhood was, my upbringing was not as hard. Coming up, was in foster care.
Okay.
Went to foster care maybe 9 years old. Went from there to different foster homes. To this day, the lady that adopted me, I still call her mom. Shout out to Yvonne Henderson.
All right, Miss Henderson.
She was, let me go back.
I want to make sure you're heard.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Growing up, going back and forth to foster care, I was mad. I ain't never told nobody this here.
Okay, well let it be known. Let it out.
I was mad because I wanted a family.
Okay.
My mom was abused, used to be an alcoholic,
Okay.
and she passed away when I was 18.
Okay.
Coming from that, I went to a boys' home called Boys Village, Lake Charles. After that, Miss Yvonne, that's my mama, I used to ride her school bus. I'm gonna show you how. I used to ride a school bus. I used to be bad as hell. And she told me one day, she said, I'm gonna get you. I told her, no, you're not. You're not gonna. So, my upbringing after that was not as bad. I went to Glen Oaks High, graduated, ran track.
Okay.
After I graduated, I had ins and out jobs, back and forth. I guess I can say my company really influenced me to do a lot of different stuff, bad stuff.
Okay.
I was just bad, breaking into houses, just everything you name of it.
Mhm.
But you would never know because I stayed clean. I don't drink, I don't smoke. I was just bad.
What's in your cup over there?
This is water. I didn't smoke, didn't drink. After I graduated from high school, I moved in with my grandmother, God bless her soul. After that, my life kind of changed.
Okay.
Like I was in the streets heavy. you know, living from house to house. You'll never know I was staying in abandoned houses. Nobody knew about that, you know. And just like she said, it's your company
You
that,
couldn't-
you know, I was just doing so much. I was like really like, I have a 2-year-old, I have a 30-year-old and a 2-year-old, 3-year-old.
We
Okay.
got too much in
So anyway, so I was just going through it. You know what got me in prison? My pride, because I didn't want to ask nobody for nothing. I'm talking about like I didn't want to ask nobody for nothing. I wanted to get it on my own. It's you can just say really, it's like stubborn. Well, I caught attempted murder, 2 attempt murders, and armed robbery.
Okay.
Oh,
it gets deeper.
It's get deep.
Y'all pay attention.
Yeah,
It gets
I
deeper.
caught 2 attempt murders on armed robbery. They gave me 95 years. I didn't even know where I was going. Like literally, I was, you know, my son was 5 years old when I went to prison. That was my biggest concern. What if the other man was gonna raise him? I had a problem with that. I didn't see my son all the years I was in prison.
That's a long time.
Years went by. I did some years in Angola, WCI, and DCI. My mom didn't miss a visit. When I say my mom is 82 now, 83, didn't miss a visit, not one time. Family support, like you said, I understood because that's the only person I had. You know, like really, I understood where you come from. Having that, you know, I'm not gonna say some people can handle it, some people can't. You know, I made my bed, I laid it. You know, if nobody, I didn't have no woman come see me. I didn't have my brothers, no sisters. I got 6 brothers and 5 sisters. I didn't worry about it. Throughout my years in prison, went to school, got a lot of certificates. I was a hospice volunteer for a few years in prison. But my calling was cutting hair, cause I had a job. I had the barber job, maybe 27 years in prison. Left Angola, went to WCI. Did 1 year in WCI, went to DCI, did 14 years in DCI. Had my job in 14 years out there, I had my job for 12 of the years. Went got some more certificates, you know. I couldn't get no good time because when I went to prison, I was under the Act 138, which is double good time. I didn't even worry about it because I had 95 years. Who's gonna do 95 years? So I said to myself while I was in prison, I was gonna get out one day. So I kept my head. I had buku fights, spit, you know, but all this here, I did the worst. A friend of mine right there, he was with me, you know, right along. Throughout the years, I said to myself, one day I'm gonna get home. You know, lost my grandmother, lost my grandfather. That's the most hurting thing because I couldn't go to my grandfather's funeral. Couldn't go to my grandmother's funeral. Throughout the years, I lost my dad. I went to his funeral. So throughout the years, I just maintained. Well, 2016 came up, my parole date. My situation is a lot different, and y'all, I need y'all to understand what I'm about to say. It's a little different because I get emotional about it. I went up for my parole, 2016. Shaking, I'm still shaking right now as I talk about it, 2016. Back in my mind, I wanted to make it, but in the front of my mind, I knew I wasn't gonna make it, you know. So, come to my parole day, my victim, his name is Don Allison, came to the parole board. They talked and did whatever they did. And Mr. Allison said he considered me making parole if me and him was the only 2 persons on this earth. I respect, because this the man I robbed and shot, you know. Cool, I'm not, you know, one day I'm gonna get home. This is my mentality. I'm gonna go home one day. Let's fast forward. I didn't know this here until after I made parole. So one day I'm cutting hair. Shout out to Miss Marie, Anne Marie, she's a warden in Angola.
Okay.
And Mr. Campbell, he's a warden at DCI. I mean, not DCI, Hunts. So they called me in there and they asked me, we need to talk to you. I was like, okay, cool. So they said, Mr. Allison sent me to talk to y'all. So now I'm crabbing up.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, what's just denying me parole? What more? You know? It was like, no, wait. Let me talk to you. So I'm sitting there and they told me Mr. Allison wanted to see me. Now I'm like, huh? The program I went to is called victim opposition,
Okay.
where you and your victim go through this process, then eventually y'all meet at the prison. So I'm like, okay, so I told them I would agree to it. So I had to go through all these channels. It took me 18 months. So we was going back and forth. But before that, I tell everybody, you know, when you're in prison, you must take accountability for your actions. Everything you do. And I'm not talking about what you do in prison. I'm talking about what you did to get in prison.
Right.
We had a class, it's called victim awareness. What victim awareness is, we used to go every Wednesday and talk, you know. You can write your victim a letter, but it's not going directly to a victim, it's going to your folder. So just to have, if your victim say, let me see what blah blah doing,
Wow.
let me see. So that's what I was doing. I was just building just building it up. So I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go do that. So we there go back and forth, back and forth. We did this here for like 18 months. 18 months back and forth. Now let's be mindful, I never seen Mr. Don at all. So as time went on, my parole date come up. You know, but before my parole date, it was time to see Mr. Allison. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Take your time.
I didn't know this was gonna happen. I seen it was time to see Mr. Allison. That day, that walk was like a walk y'all could never believe. I'm talking about, it was more of like, from my dormitory to the chapel, it was the longest walk ever. And when I got to the chapel, I just couldn't walk no more, you know. So when I got there, Mr. Allison hugged me.
Wow.
You know, that was like something I couldn't even believe, you know. So we talked back, and he expressed how he felt, which is understandable, because this is the man I robbed and shot. I could have killed him.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So we sat there and talked, and we talked for like 8 hours straight. So it was him, his wife, and his 2 daughters. And let me make y'all laugh. How we were set up, I was sitting in front of Mr. Allison. His wife was sitting on the side of him. His daughter was sitting on the side of him. His other daughter and his wife were sitting in the back. So we talking. Now, you know, when you're sorry, you'll know it.
Mm-hmm.
When you just faking, it's just in you
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
So we talking, and it was just like really emotional. And I just told him how much I was sorry. Which I told myself if I ever get the opportunity to tell him, you know, I'm sorry. And we talked, and that man told me the biggest, I still remember to this day.
All right, you gonna start me over.
No.
Right? Jeez. Okay.
He told me he forgave me. That was the biggest thing for me, even if I don't make parole, because I could have killed him. You know, like really, I could have. So he told me, "You ready to go home?" And I was like, "Man, I'm ready to go home." So we talked again. My parole day came up. He wrote a statement, and come to find out, he turned around, and I didn't pay attention. He turned around to his daughter. His daughter worked for the federal government, and she's a body, what they call herself when she, when you look at somebody and you can determine if they tip.
Yeah.
So that's what she was. I never knew who that was. And he told me after my parole. So I made parole. He came to my parole. My mama came, and he wrote a statement. He was like, "This is not the same Marcus I knew when I was 24." Fast forward, I made parole. Mr. Allison is like my shining armor, because without him, I would have never made parole. You know, after I made parole, life is good. I work for the East Baton Rouge Parish Mosquito and Road Control. I have a 3-year-old daughter. It's been a blessing, you know, and I understand where she was coming from too, you know. I tell people all the time, it's like it's hard out here. It's not hard out here. It's only hard if you make it hard.
Right.
You know, I would have never thought by being a convicted felon, getting a job, working with the city parish, you know, that's unheard of, you know. But, you know, I tell people all the time, you know, you can go out and make it. You know, don't sit up here and cry and think everybody's owe you something. Don't nobody owe you nothing. You know, don't nobody owe you nothing. So I understand what she said. You know, I tell people again, go out there and make it happen. If I knew what I knew now, you know, but I was talking to a friend yesterday, and I told him, I said, me going to prison probably saved somebody's life, and I think it saved my son's life, because I didn't have a relationship with him, and he told me something that hurted me, but I understood. He said, he wrote me a letter, he said, when I grow up, I don't want to be like you. Well, he did 8 years in the Army.
Oh.
Yeah, he did 8 years in the Army.
Like we asked Rosalyn, how hard was it for you to land the job with Mosquito Abatement? Like how did that
It
come?
wasn't. It's called being honest.
Right.
It really wasn't. It's like a friend of mine, make you laugh. I used to work, I've never been without a job since I've been out. I used to work with this animal shelter called Companion Animal Alliance of Baton Rouge. Shout out to them too, because that was my first job. A friend of mine told me, look, go fill out this application. I said, for what? For the East Baton Rouge Parish. I said, man, they ain't gonna give me no job. I'm a convicted felon. Go take the test. I failed the test. You gotta score 30. I scored a 12. Come back again. He says, open again. I said, man, I ain't going to take it. He said, go take the test. I scored a 29.
Okay.
I'm mad.
No,
No, y'all don't understand.
Yes.
I got to score a 30. I scored a 29. They could have gave it to me. They could have just gave me that.
Right.
So, time fly by. I'm working at the Companion Animal Alliance of Baton Rouge. He called me. He said, came up again.
Go take the
I
test.
said, man, I ain't taking it. I hung up on him. I hung up on him. He called me back. He said, don't make me come get you. I said, man, I'm not taking that test.
Right.
I went to take the test and scored a 39.
Oh.
Come on.
You know, but it wasn't hard. You know,
And what would you tell, like same way we asked Rosalyn, what would you tell young adults and youth as far as like now? And what advice would you have to speak to
I'm
males?
simple and blunt. Don't do it. Just don't enjoy life. Going to prison is not good. It's not.
Right.
Go, just don't do it.
And I have to say this because social media, again, it comes back to our previous podcast. Social media has a lot of influence on kids. Music has a lot of influence on our youth as far as what they want to do with themselves.
Right.
They follow the music. They
mimic it.
mimic it.
Right.
The videos that are made using weapons in the videos, and a lot of these, I gotta speak for the guys, on the guys at this point, because girls are doing it, but they're not like the guys. Guys are very flashy with theirs,
Right.
but you're flashing weapons. Some of these guys don't even have the heart. They just doing this because others are doing it.
Right.
But you put them in a situation, are you gonna pull the trigger? Do you have the heart to pull the trigger? You know,
I don't know. I just feel like Baton Rouge is a different kind of city.
Mm-hmm.
Like the children here, like
So-
I mean, it's everywhere.
Right.
But
Okay.
it's everywhere. But
You're speaking
At
of
the-
locally.
currently, at the rate, like the murder rate now, is mostly young
It
children.
really is.
14 to 19 years old. Like you have
Right.
kids, like little kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Every time you look at the news, I don't watch the news because it's depressing.
Yeah,
And
it really
I
is.
don't want to see these kids doing this because every time you look at the news, it's always a juvenile, a minor that done shot and killed somebody.
And
And
you know what's crazy? They're not even ready for what's coming behind them.
Yeah.
right,
They
right.
really like, and I tell them, it's crazy because I look at a lot of podcasts too, and it's peer pressure.
Yes,
It,
absolutely.
it's really peer pressure because and I wish, to be honest with you, I hate social media because this is why.
Right.
You know, when I was growing up, we had a telephone. Did
Yes.
nobody know
Right.
nobody's business.
Right.
Yeah,
You know, and people getting killed behind
right.
just
And again,
yeah.
when you was younger, you had beef, you fought it out,
Yes.
either
That's
you won
right,
or you
and
lost,
Y'all friends
and that
fought.
was that.
That's-
You know what I'm saying? But
that's
if you think about it, in the last few weeks, we done had 2 school shootings. You know what I'm saying? You got this 18-year-old that done shot and killed a 16-year-old at a high school football game.
yeah.
Then you got the other school shooting where a 14-year-old done shot and killed this 16-year-old at school.
Right.
Right.
Like, this is crazy. It almost makes you want to homeschool your kids.
It's sad.
It is so
it's really
sad.
It's
And I mean, basically at this point, all we can do, you know what I'm saying? You wish you could bring prayer back into school yourself, but
Right.
the school done took it out. You know what I'm
Schooling took a
saying?
lot of because I
Yeah.
remember when I was going to school, you do something, you're going underneath that stairway and get them 5 swipes.
Yeah,
You know,
they had paddles.
They had
Right.
paddles. I remember I was
Yes.
young in South Baton Rouge at Polk Elementary. I never knew what my mama was signing until I did something. That man, I did something. Come on over here.
That's
Until
I went to Northwestern Middle.
Right.
Yeah,
I
you-
got paddles.
and guess what? You can't do that now.
Well,
No,
the
it's so
school
far
the school my granddaughter attends.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna say the school name, but yes, they do paddle. They do.
Okay.
They do.
They do paddle, and I'm grateful for that because guess what? When she see somebody else got it done,
Right.
my grandbaby is a straight A student,
Right.
and she's very respectful because guess what? She done seen what happened. She don't want to go down that road. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think, like I said, if they hadn't taken it out of school, these kids would be a lot different. But then you got parents who don't want to use their village. You know what I'm saying? Oh, don't discipline my child or don't put your hands on my child. Me, I feel like this. You and you. If you know me
Right.
and you know my child and you see her doing something she ain't got no business,
Right.
deal with it. and come tell me, well, tell me, look,
Yeah, right.
this is what I did.
Okay.
I punished her because this is what she did. I'm not gonna tell you don't put your hands on mine, cause guess what?
Right.
You saw what she did. You
Right.
deal with her accordingly.
You know what I, excuse me, Kutcha, you know what I see a lot? Like I said, I'm a mobile barber, and I cut a lot of kids' hair. Parenting is different.
Mm.
When I say
absolutely.
it's different,
Absolutely.
because it's not son and mother, it's not daughter and mother.
Oh, they're friends.
It's best, that how you
Yeah,
know it.
they
Because
friends.
matter of fact, a couple days ago, mama passing weed to the son.
Yeah, see.
So, and I'm like, this is not supposed to be like this here.
Right.
You know, you are adult.
Giving it an okay.
Yeah.
You're not, you know, and that's where it really started. It started in the home.
Mhm.
So if you like that in the home, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, and it's you know, and I tell people when I go cut their hair, little kids or whatnot, one day I had to tell my son, you know, and he understood, you know, because parenting need to be better.
Right.
You know, I remember when they had, what they call this here, they had field trips where kids go to prisons. You know,
Right.
you know,
right.
and
They
you
don't-
see,
They don't do that no more. They say, cause honestly, when my daughter was growing up, she wasn't a bad kid, but I wanted her to see what it was like to,
Right.
what's gonna happen if you get,
make that choice.
if you make this choice.
right,
They don't even do that. They don't let the children go. They don't let them see. The best thing you could do is find something on TV that they can watch to see how it is, and let them know this is real. It's real life.
I seen it, cause they had a field trip come to Angola one day. And you can just see these little kids, pants down their butt,
Right.
everything. And guys in Angola, they really hard. They really like, they hate this here. And I remember one guy, one of the boys, he was just like this here sitting. And a friend of mine, he walked up to him, he said, "You hard, huh?" He just looked at him, he said, "You hard." He said, "You not hard." He told the man, "Look, let him come back here with me.
Right.
I'm gonna show him what's hard."
Yeah.
He's like, you know, but it's crazy because 7 years later, we seen him in Angola.
Wow.
I have to ask, we have an audience joining us today. Does anyone have any questions for Rosalyn or Marcus? Anyone have any questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
Marcus, if there's anything you could do different today that you wouldn't have done back then, would you change? Well, would you change what you did?
Before you speak, one more time with that question.
The choices you made, all the wrong things you did, the choices you made,
Right.
do you regret them now? I'm gonna say it like that.
I regret that. I regret for being, I call it selfish. I regret for being, my pride. You know, I wish I had pride back then. You know, would I change? I think I would change my pride. You know, because pride gets you hurt, pride gets you killed. You know, pride hurts a lot of people.
Right.
You know, so I think if I would have to change, it'd be my pride. I don't have no problem asking nobody for help now. But that was the reason why I went to prison. So I don't, you know, if I need help, you know, the only thing they can tell me is yeah or no.
Right.
You know, so, but I think about this here because, I'm gonna tell you this here. What if you know they say God put you in places for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And if, say if I don't go to prison, Burnell, where my son would be, because I was really thinking about my son. You know, they say little kids, especially little boys, they follow their father. Whatever their father do, if your father in the street, guess where your son gonna be in the street. And I was doing stupid stuff in the street. Now, say if my son was really still with me, and I don't go to prison, he's gonna be doing the same thing.
You would be one of them parents smoking weed with your son.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like,
You know,
if you wouldn't have
right.
went, you would be
So-
the parent that we just talked about.
Right. I don't smoke. I
Right.
don't smoke, I don't drink. But
He probably
He-
was just robbing people.
He'd
right
been
along.
he'd think that's cool.
Cool, yeah.
You know, but I would change a lot of stuff. You know, the way I conduct business, the way I talk to people, and that goes inside where I come from. You know, it's just so much I would change right now. You know, I'm not the same 25-year-old. You know, I wouldn't believe this. I was shy. I was this. You know, you can ask my friend. I was, you know, it was difficult. I was bad. Yeah. You know, when you from Glen Oaks, you bad. You bad when you from
No,
Glen
my
Oaks.
did for me.
The same question goes to Rosalyn. He brought up a good point, which that was going to be my question. He took my question. So he asked this for the male part of you. So same question to you.
I would say that back then I was a show off. Like I had the cars, the clothes, and I was
The
just
money.
like the money, yeah, fast money. I was just like the person, oh, let's call Rosalyn, we'll get her to do it. And I'm like, hey, shit, let's go, let's do it. I'm not like that I'm not like that today now. You call me for some bullshit, I'm gonna be like, shit, do something. That's so loud.
Yeah,
right.
for real.
But I just,
It's growth
I mean,
and maturity.
it is,
Yeah.
and that, from what I used to be back then, it was a hot mess.
Wow.
So,
And Mr. Marcus, so my like, you know, like he asked you, you know, like, do you have any regrets or whatever? But, and you know, like you were saying that your pride or whatever, but even after you did time and you're home now, it kind of like, just say for instance, the relationship that you have with your victim. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like,
a beautiful relationship.
yeah, the
Let me tell you.
relationship that you have with your victim, the relationship that you have with the people that surrounded you and supported you, I'm pretty sure is different now.
Actually, Monday I'm going to eat with my victim. We go out to eat probably once every 3 months.
That's amazing.
This is probably the fourth time. Matter of fact, right before I came here, I called him. Well, I texted him and he called me back.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling him I'm about to go on a podcast. He was like, I wish I could come. That would have been a whole different experience because y'all don't understand.
Right.
You just don't see
yeah.
what I've been through.
Right.
You know, he's a ordained minister, and he was telling me the reason why he come because he got his church and whatnot. But this is just totally different. And I told him he goes to the women's prison. He goes to a different prison. I was like, whenever you're ready for me to come, I'm ready. He is, I think I've changed a lot of people,
Right.
Especially dealing with him.
And you still have
Yeah, I said, shout out Mr. Don Allison. Because without him,
You wouldn't be here.
I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be at this podium.
Yeah.
So, he is like,
a blessing.
just not, I can't even, the blessing is like, he is one of these guys that like, he didn't deserve what I did.
Right.
And for him to step up and do what he did, because anybody else, and I don't think I need to go there, I'll be still in prison. And I tell people all the time, people be like, you got prejudiced people
They're
all
out
around
there.
us.
They're out there.
And I hear this here, this white and this black. It's not about that.
Right.
It's not. And I told one guy, he was like, Bob, I said, let me tell you something. I said, you can go on with the BS, go on, because I'm not trying to hear it.
Right.
We talking, and I was like, see what you talking about? I robbed and shot a white guy. He got me home.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all like family.
And we like, I wish I could call him on a live podcast right now. We can talk.
Right,
You know,
guardian angel.
Yeah, he's like
Yes.
really,
Guardian
and I really try to get him on here. People have never experienced that. That's like when
Yeah.
I'm going back to saying, they're not ready. you know. My daughter is a blessing, you know. People around me that changed. You remember I told y'all I only had one person who come to see me in prison? I'm cool with that. I didn't need you in prison anyway.
Right.
I need you when I go home.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
Now it's like I got hands everywhere. Prime example, you know, my mom always tell me, how in the world you hooked up with Tyree Neal now? You know, because of the person that I am.
Right.
You know, their family is, I ain't saying private, but, you know, if they let you in, you in.
Yeah.
You know, so, I done met a lot of good people.
Shout out to the Neils.
Shout out to the Neils. Don't call me for no haircut till next week. But it's a blessing. I done met some real good people. Like, really, you know,
We got a question.
who got a question?
Yeah, I have
Okay.
a question that's kind of a statement also.
Okay.
Do you think mental health played any role in your growth and the youth today?
Mental health?
Like counseling, like
I don't have mental health issues. I don't think mental health had nothing to do with it, but I did have counseling. Because in prison you have to have counseling. You can't do it by yourself. You know, you can sit back up and say, man, I'm straight. Hell no, you ain't straight. You done 30 years. What person have done 30, 40 years and straight? Just like me and her just got through talking about being institutionalized. I did 24. I know people that done 40. You don't think they need counseling?
Right.
You know, so you must have counseling. I'm not saying you messed up in it, but you must have counseling.
Just to get through it.
Yeah, to get through it.
'Cause
Just
I
like you
had
said,
to have it when I first got out. When I say, like I was telling you, when I first got out, I was scared to go to Walmart.
Right,
Like, when I was in Walmart, I feel like the walls was closing down on me.
right,
And so I had to get counseling. Like, I took counseling for like a year and 6 months.
right, yeah.
And you said you mentioned something to me before about the routine. Like you had a daily routine, but
Yeah,
it took you about a year
a year and some
Almost.
change.
to get out of that daily routine because you're being told when to get up.
When to get up, when to eat, when to go to bed, when to clean up.
But that's crazy, because look, they had a phone. My phone was sitting by me. I'm watching TV. The phone went off. Ring. Ring. My mama said, you ain't gonna answer that phone. I'm not touching that phone. You home. Oh, man, I messed up. You know, because you don't supposed to pick up phones when you, that's your phone. You can pick up, that was my phone. And I'm scared to death to pick.
Indeed.
You know, so
It's the
it's
tunnel. Yeah,
it's that, yeah, how you said that, tunnel?
like tunnel vision.
Man,
You're not
it's
even
like-
worried about.
Well, when I first got out, you know, it said institutionalized. I still do institutional stuff right now.
Me too.
I still do it to today. You'll never know.
Right.
Like, I might feel like eating me a hookup.
Come on now.
I might, serious, y'all look at me.
Never that.
Tell them what they look
Okay,
at.
okay. For those that don't know,
Listen.
y'all break it down to
Okay,
us.
listen,
Hookup.
but no, I'm gonna tell you this here, it's funny because it's actually good. And one day, I was with my mom. I said, look, I'm about to hook up something. She's like, oh boy, no, don't do it. I said, yeah, I'm about to do it. I said, I'll be back. I went to the Dollar General and got sardines, tuna fish, noodles,
Come on.
everything.
Come on.
Everything that comes with cheese, peppers, onions, everything. I even posted it on Facebook. So she looked at me, she said, what are you doing? You about to eat this. She said, I'll be damned if I eat that. And I ain't
So
seen
you
it.
know, you're aware of what he's talking about. Hookup. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I don't eat that.
yeah. So I still, but if you don't, like she said, she went to Walmart. It took me a month to adjust
Okay.
because where my mindset was in prison, I paid attention. When I first got out of prison, And I went to McDonald's. McDonald's was my first, and the people gave me a debit card, and I looked at them. I said, "What this credit card for?" And that's I had $25 on it.
Okay.
So I walked into McDonald's by the River Center,
Okay.
and the guy said, I said, "Y'all go ahead." So I'm sitting back in the cut, and the man, he doing this here. Trying to figure out where to go. I'm just sitting back.
Trying to figure out.
Yeah, I'm just sitting back, and I'm
Watching,
like, so
observing.
you know what I did? When it's my turn, I said, "Give me a number 1." She rung it up, and I handed her the card. She said, "No, stick it in there." Simple as that. You know, but it wasn't,
You gotta learn everything all
right.
over again.
It was, I gotta learn how to drive. Go ahead.
Ms. Rosalyn, I wanted to ask you a question. I know we kind of touched on it, but I wanted you to kind of like elaborate. So how did it change you for the better as a person, like your mentality?
I went to a lot of meetings in the facility I was at in St. Gabriel, and I just wanted to do better for myself. Like, I went through anger management classes. I came to a point where I was really depressed and stressed a lot, where I got on medication about it. But it took a lot of prayer and a lot of counseling for me to come out to do what I wanted to do. Like, I used to always tell myself, I'm gonna come out and do the things that good for me and not good for nobody else. Cause like I say, I used to be a follower.
Okay.
Like, I used to be the show off. But like I say, it took a lot of counseling, a lot of prayer, a lot of trusting in God for me to be the person that I am today.
I was listening to both of you. Thank you for sharing, because your story allowed me to understand something I did wrong with my nephew. He went to jail, prison. He made a mistake, but I told him, because I kept saying, if you go and you get locked up,
Go to jail, don't call them. It's just crazy because what you just said. So I went to jail. You know the first person I called? I called her. You know what she picked up the phone. Bob, she said, "Marcus, didn't I tell you, if you go to jail, I'm not going," and she hung up the phone. Never spoke to her no more. So, like he said, stand up on what you said. It's hard it was hard because he went to jail, you know, but I tell you this much, it's all right to talk to him and explain to him why.
I did.
You know, deep down, he understand. He understand why. You got some people that just don't understand, because I've been around people that didn't talk so bad to their people because they expect them to do something.
Right.
You know, they didn't do it.
Right.
So don't feel bad if y'all have talked and you know you just expressing your feelings.
Yeah.
And it's all right. If that's what you stand on, like he said, stand on it.
No, I'm happy that I stood on it, because I noticed a whole different person came out.
There you
When
go.
he came out, I thought I was gonna have to be, I was always the mother figure with him and my sister, but I thought he was gonna need me so much. But when he got work release, and his work release created this outlet for him that gave him a footing that I didn't understand at first.
Right.
And yeah, he came out and he had to go, he stayed with us because they parole. When they put him on parole, he had a house place.
Right.
My house was the place.
That's right.
And I noticed this young man that I was like, whoa, if I had went there, I probably wouldn't have seen this person. Because instead, since he didn't have us, his mom went when she could because she was in school and working. But there was an older man in there and I was scared to ask questions. So I was like, oh my God, what is he gonna tell me? Can I handle it? But it's like, when we prayed, when our family prayed for him, whoever that person was, it was his guardian angel.
Right.
Because that person not only helped him to understand how to go day to day, but he learned.
Right.
He read, he studied. Like you said, he was doing stuff that he wasn't trying to do when he was out. So, in a way, even his mom said it, and I'm going to say it, and he's going to probably see this. I'm glad he went, because the road he was going on,
Was
When he,
I was scared the call that I got was going to be, he was dead.
right.
But instead, the call I got, he was being locked up.
when he, I'm piggyback on what you were saying, when he went to work release, have he ever had a job before?
He's had that when, at the minute he walked out of there, those people called him. So he's been in that job since
Yeah.
then, and it's been 5 years now.
That's good.
Cause that's the same thing like with me, like I only had like one regular job that I can say like a 9 to 5 when I was working at the mall when I was like 18 or 19. But like I say, I used to dance. So my job that I have since I got out is like my second job, like a 9 to 5 job. Like I
Right.
never had a 9 to 5 job.
And that's his first. Like
And that-
his,
and I- Yeah, and I think that's what really
Right.
changed me too.
Right.
Like, you know, forget the fast money, cause the fast money come with drugs, alcohol, trouble, yeah.
Death.
So
I'm gonna tell you something. My brother told me the exact same thing. He called me. He said, Marcus, I need to tell you this. He said, don't get mad. He said, I'm actually glad you're in prison. Man, I hung up on him. Like, really? Hung up on him. Because I didn't understand what he meant.
yeah.
You know, me fresh in prison, 95 years, and my brother called me and say, you know, I'm glad that you're in prison. Years go by, I had to think about this here. So I called him years down. I said, man, what you mean about that? He said, can I tell you something? He said, I'd rather for me to come see you in prison,
Then to come see you in the grave.
and that's the exact words. And I'm like, man. You know, and I tell him to this day, I still shoot. I told him I'm sorry. Because I never understood. You know, once we understand what, you know, some people just not gonna take it, some people is. You know, but it's a good thing because people mature more in prison. If you want to mature, if you want to rehabilitate yourself. Because if you don't want to rehabilitate yourself, then you're just going to be prison. You know, you just going to do whatever, do drugs or whatnot. But the little brother, whoever he must have said in his mind, I'm going to be a changed person.
he did.
You know,
That's the one
and-
thing he told my son.
Yeah, he's, you know, because people, prison is for, and I might get some backlash. Prison is for some people, and prison is for not some people.
Yep.
I done met some real good people that done made mistakes.
But I have to ask real quick, do you guys have any contact information to where you can inform those how to get in touch with you through Facebook or social media?
Just go on my Facebook, Marcus
Yeah.
Cheffen.
Go on mine,
Sure.
Rosalyn Allen.
Rosalyn now.
Marcus
Okay.
Cheffen.
We do have to wrap up the podcast.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Thank
so
you.
soon.
Oh, you got nervous now.
And
what
look,
you got
look,
Okay.
she started off a bit
You
nervous,
nervous,
but I told her it's just like you're sitting at home
I
and
ain't tell her that.
discussing.
I told her it was
like-
like you talking to your daughter.
Right,
It
right,
made
right,
me feel better now.
But I noticed a difference. You did
Yeah.
mellow out. Yeah, you did mellow
Yeah.
out and calm down. But today's topic was definitely one for the books.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
I hope that we were able to reach out or reach someone out there regarding this topic. We are glad and honored to have Marcus and Rosalyn join us tonight. Also, our guests that took time out of their busy schedules to hang with us. Yes, don't let it be your last. So, yes, continue to follow Classic Cuties podcast on YouTube, on Facebook, Classic Cuties, actually Cuties page, and Tammy, Instagram, Classic Cuties.
And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe
To Classic Cuties.
to Classic Cuties. And just join our conversations with Classic Cuties. We have some interesting topics.
Come on in.
And come join us.
Join us.
Again, thanks for coming out. This is Classic
Thank you.
Cuties signing off.
Thank you.